This symposium has taught us the significance of enhancing collaboration and cooperation with partner nations and organizations. I name this event as Istanbul Air Meeting, playing an important role in Partnership for Peace. As the think tank institution of Turkish Air Force, I believe that the Air War College will contribute to the development of air and space power by attending and holding international conferences and symposiums.
It's a unique opportunity to discuss about the past and the future of air warfare. So appear to me that is already a success.
That seminar of this type, a symposium of this type, is a great learning value. So I expect to go back a little more educated man than what I am now.
To host this and have so many nations and so many experts come together and have that discussion and put focus on air power and what air power can do independently and jointly, it's very important, and I think this is a perfect place to do that, to bring all these people together and have that discussion on the strengths and limits of air power.
All these forces, as well as the R&D and innovation researchers are here, joining forces in order to be designing the future systems.
The Turkish Air Force and the Air War College here has brought together so many scholars from around the world. It's very impressive to see this group of people and the reputations that they have in the subject of air power, and then to bring them together for the exchange in front of a wonderful audience, and our hosts have been great. So
to try to bring our experience on this symposium, and I think it is very grateful to meet all the Air Force from each country in the world.
For people like me, they come from the academic community. Here you meet military men. So when you study international politics or strategy, it's important, in my opinion, to have also a direct contact with the people they do strategy, they do politics on the field.
It's now the predominant force element. It's important that people understand it. It's very complex, a lot of nuances, but it's important that it be understood, and conferences like this cast important light on a very important international asset.
The symposium should be able to give us a holistic view of the history of air power. Although it's only 100 years, air power has come from being the third service to something that is most critical in today's world.
Because all of us who fly see the world from up above. And we know that borders and boundaries are the fictions of men who don't fly. We see the world from a very special perspective, and we share that bond as individuals who fly.
Air forces from around the world that don't normally get together in other forums. And the fact that 60 nations or so are going to be here to discuss history, to look at how history has shaped air power in 2014 and will shape air power in the future is absolutely crucial.
Türk Hava Kuvvetleri çok güzel program yaptık. Ben çok mutlu oldum. This is a wonderful opportunity that the Turkish Air Force has given to the entire world's air forces to get together and have discussion on the international on this history of the air warfare.
More than 50 countries come join to talk about the air power, and also we in the era for changing new security environment, so it is a good time for us to exchange our views on air power.
For two reasons. One, I really enjoy seeing the airmen from 18 more other nations, lots of speakers here from all over the world, and it's a real brotherhood of airmen. also a chance to talk about the role that air power plays not only in the past but in security today.
The fact that this is the second year for Turkey to sponsor this conference, and I think that it's extraordinarily important for Turkey and especially for the Turkish Air Force to be sponsoring something like this, which brings a lot of people here together that can see the way that the Turkish Air Force is thinking and how modern it is and what it's trying to do.
Good information about history, warfare, and modern warfare, air warfare, of course. And I think it's a very good setup to have deep discussions on that. Yeah.
All the importance of the air power be underlined and be made clear to those who give it for granted, and it is not granted.
And particularly with all the events that are going on in the world right now, I think it is very interesting that you, in between, have the opportunity to actually revisit what is the operational stuff that matters at the end of the day. So I hope that this year will give me some renewed insight of what operations is about, how operations can impact strategy, and also maybe how politics actually defines what we eventually do when it comes down to doctrine and so forth.
The basic idea is to get together with others and work together and try to face against the threats. And here at this point, of course, Air Force capability is very much important in terms of conventional forces capability.
It's really well organized, and I think that this is a nice forum where a lot of Air Force gentlemen can gather and share their knowledge.
Having got a galaxy of academicians and aviation historians and scholars at one place to exchange ideas is a wonderful thing, and full commendation to the Turkish Air Force for having done that.
There is an international perspective, from lesson learned, from experience, and from sharing of knowledge.
To learn about the history of the air power and to foresee the future of the air power, because there are many things about the air power, not only the way to make the war, to win war, but to help the mankind in many ways. The human aids, there are many ways that the air power can help the humanity, not only through the war.
What a very impressive facility you have here to conduct the conference. Extremely impressive. A very good start. Excellent opening keynote address. Very thought-provoking, and yes, what a great conference this is going to be.
So many different people speaking from so many different perspectives. It's great not to have a universal stovepipe type mindset here. I don't think you're going to get widespread agreement on everything that's said, and I think that's a very good thing. I like to be tested. I like to have my thoughts subject to question, and this is the perfect environment for that.
To understand the present day of air and space, you need to know the history, and you need to know the doctrines that are taught in different nations. So this symposium, several speakers who are experts in these fields, tie everything together.
Exchanging experience between air forces is very, very important. And common training, of course, is very important. And I think if we are doing together, we will achieve a lot in our pilot skilling, of course.
An Air Force is based on what I call environmental competence. The capability to do something based on a conceptual approach, which is typical airmen or people working in the sky, if you allow me to say that. I mean, air power, as maritime power does, require that sort of conceptual approach, a specific conceptual approach.
This is the coordination to the best for the Air Force and for the humanity of this in the world.
We focus on history, but history is probably the basis of what we do today. It's to know where we come from and to share how we feel through that history and how do we go forward from here.
There are some very interesting speakers who've come along today, and also the program for tomorrow looks superb. There is also the attendees as well, a superb cross-section of people from around the world, big air power hitters.
Wonderful opportunity to get a chance to meet other officers who are interested not only in air power history but in advancing air power thought as we look to try to adapt to the changing conditions of the world.
The Air Force, in my belief, is a luxury, actually. For small countries like my country, is a luxury. And in this case, we have to have the justification to keep it. So if we justify it right, we can continue. If we cannot justify it for the production that the Air Force brings, then we're going to fail and the Air Force will disappear.
Quality of the speakers is very impressive. I try to go through in my own mind the people I know from around the world who would be the best experts to come and speak on these various topics. And frankly, you've got them here. So there's 2 or 3 people perhaps that I would also suggest. But again, I've never seen such a quality event where so many people who are really experts in their field have been asked to come here and talk about these subjects. It's very impressive.
The military needs to think, and to think we have to share ideas. And so a symposium like this, especially one on air power, is very important. You need to maintain this kind of thing because this is offering Turkish officers and allied officers of other NATO countries especially the chance to get together. An academic environment is very intense, but this is a great sharing event as far as intellectual.
Air power is, it's not only air forces, it's joint air power from my perspective, is one of the decisive forces and instruments for keeping peace and stability in the world. That's very clear for me. And how to work into the future with our friends in the alliance is very, very important. And that is one of the platforms to do that.
I am former pilot, so all topics we're touching today and yesterday is interesting for me. Of course, for people who are interested aviation and all problems or topics touching aviation.
You know, all of the speakers exchange their own knowledge about the 20th century of the air power. This is too important for the improving of the air power in the future. I think this is a very good idea.
The variety of experience I saw here, Western side, South America, from Asia, the variety of experience enrich the symposium with this information.
It's an outstanding symposium. The way, the number of people, the high level of the lecturers, I am really impressed about the quality of this symposium.